Everybody, Lieutenant Joe Pangaro here for the Blue Heart Podcast. I want to thank our sponsors, Blue360Media.com, RiotTint.com, makers of safety glazing film for windows and doors and windows. Excellent. And also MedicalEssentialDiagnostics.com. They provide health screenings for first responders across the state of New Jersey at no cost to you to make sure you're healthy. So I want to thank them for bringing this program to you. Reach out to all of them, find out what they're all about. All right. So one of the things I was trying to decide where I wanted to go today. What's important to you is what I'm trying to think of. So I had a couple of people in a class I did recently. We were talking about, it was an interview class, how to do interviews, and they were talking about the connection between interview and someone in crisis. So in my career, I was blessed. I was trained by the FBI to be a hostage crisis negotiator. I went out on quite a few events. Was mostly successful in almost all of these events. You can't win them all, but I won most of them. I was supported by a great team, and I was trained by good people, and I took it to heart. So there is a connection between interview skills and when you're dealing with someone in crisis, because both events, both kind of skills are really related to the same thing. When you interview someone in a criminal interview, you want them to tell you something that they did, make an admission, give you some information, right? Confession. That's what you want. You're having a conversation to get that to happen, to move them along to confession. Well, in a hostage crisis situation, you're kind of doing the same thing. You're behind a door. Maybe you got a weapon. Maybe you got your kids. You don't want to come out. Whatever it is. And I have to talk to you, connect with you, and get you to put the gun down, let the kids out, and come on out. I mean, it's an interview, it's a conversation, right? So when we were talking about this officer said, "Okay, I've been in a situation that kind of developed really fast, where all of a sudden, I think it was a robbery guy. Guy robbed somebody, ran to a store, went in and closed the door, wouldn't let the cops in, wouldn't come out. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Did I say the right thing?" He started going through it. I said, "You know what? Let me think about a couple of these things." And I'm going through my list here of things I wanted to talk about on crisis and a couple of different stories, so I could give you some tips, some information. All right. So yeah, I guess we'll talk about this one. It was Mother's Day, Mother's Day 2010, maybe. There was a domestic violence incident, and a guy and his girl who had this problem. They were in a screaming fight, and it was really loud, and the girl's mother must have heard the fight going on the phone, and the girl hung up abruptly, and the mother called back and there was no answer, so she got nervous. So she called the police and said, "Hey, I just heard this big fight between my daughter and her boyfriend. They fought before in the last town they lived in. He beat her up." And so she had legitimate concerns. So they send the officers out there, and they go knock on the door, and they're knocking and nobody's answering. They look inside, and they could see what looked like there was some confrontation. There's some stuff knocked over. And so the officers are getting nervous, and they see a guy come to the door. And the guy opens the door a crack, and he says, "Yeah, what can I do for you? What do you want? What do you want?" And like, "We got a report that you and your girl are having a fight, and we want to see the girl and make sure everybody's okay, and then we're out of here." He goes, "Yeah, yeah, she's fine. She's fine. She went to bed. We don't need to hear from you." Boom, and he closes the door. Now, there's lots of ways we can handle that at that point, and this is not about that aspect of this call. I know some officers said, "Hey, you got a concern, this guy blows you off, you're going to check on the girl, right? You're going to boot the door if you have to and go check on him." And there are times you may do that, and that's another story I'll tell you about. But in this particular instance, they knocked, they banged on the door again. "Hey, hey, 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 come to the door. We got to talk to you." And the guy comes back to the door, and he won't open the door this time. Now he opens a window near the door, and he goes, "What do you want? I told you she's fine. She's in bed. Leave us alone. We had an argument. Go away." And the officers are doing the right thing. They're saying, "Well, we have to see the girl. How do we know she's not hurt? How do we know that something didn't happen?" And they're going back and forth with this guy. And he was being belligerent. He would close the window. He sat down in the chair. They're trying to get him come to the window. He comes to the window again, but he doesn't have any marks on him other than, "Hey, the furniture's turned over. Looks like you had an argument." And he said, "Yeah, we had an argument, but she's fine. She's in bed." Now, obviously, the concern here is that the girl's injured and she's up in the bedroom, or she's in the kitchen, or she's in the bathroom floor. she's beat up or she could be dead, right? The officer's trying to decide what to do. Well, they talked to this guy for about an hour. He talked to them. He kept talking and talking and talking. And finally he says, I had enough talk to you. I want to go to bed. Leave me alone. I'm not letting you in. The on-site supervisor made a decision not to boot the door. Instead, they called for me and my partner to come out and talk to this guy. We need to find out if this girl's okay. All right, so we can all talk about how that decision was made. That's the decision that was made. So we're going to go there. All right, so me and my partner show up. We are the hostage crisis team. We're on the county team, and we work together all the time. So we get this guy's attention, and we tell him, hey, we're different. We're in suits and ties, right? We're not patrol officers. We're detectives. We just listen. What's going on? And we're talking to him. We connected with the guy, and he would come to the window, and he was talking to us. And we tried to make sense out of it. Listen, I know you're nervous having all these cops here, basically, is what we told him. We just need to see your girlfriend. If she's asleep in the bed, walk us up there, let us see that she's sleeping, and we're out of here, right? We just want to make sure she's okay, she's not hurt. Because, people hurt people, and then they tell us they can't see them. We went through the whole thing. We went through a routine with the guy. And we're going back and forth with him. And he decided that he would open the door and talk to us through the door. Now, this is a technique. So when we did this, what I like to do is if somebody's behind a door, you want to plan on what you're doing right at the moment and what you might have to do down the road. So it's called tactical and practical. Practical is I'm talking to him. Tactical means we may have to go in there and get him or do whatever we have to do. And if the door is locked and shut, that makes it a lot more difficult. So one of my first goals is to convince the person that I want to talk to them face to face. I'm not coming in. I'm over here. Your cops are down there. You can see nobody's coming in, but I want to talk to you face to face. Now, I got to tell you, this has worked for me on many occasions. Listen, I'm not coming in. Take a peek, look out the window. Cops are all down here, and it's just me standing on the porch. I just want to talk to you face to face. Well, this guy agrees, and he cracks the door open. He goes, all right, the door's open. What do you want to say? Will you let us come in? He goes, no, I'm not having you come in my house because I don't trust the cops, right? We're going back and forth with this. The long and short of the story is, as I was talking to him, and I was trying to gain his confidence and let him know I'm not really a threat. The cops aren't coming, busting in. Everybody's relaxing. I was trying to plan tactically. I realized that if he's not going to let us in, we have to go in. All right, we're going in one way or another. I just want to make sure, because I couldn't see the whole living room. Does he have a gun in there? Does he have a knife in there? Does he have some kind of weapon? That's my next thing to try and figure out. So I need to see more, hear more, talk to him some more. And we're going round and round with this. And some of the techniques that I used, and here's the techniques, I want you to listen to this. I'm not giving you the whole hostage crisis thing, but there's some techniques you can understand. One of the things we have to do, just like in my book, The Interview, I talk about, we diminish the words we use. I wasn't talking about someone's assaulted, someone's hurt. He's gotten into an argument, right? I diminish the words I use. We just want to see if everybody's okay, and then we're out of here. I'm setting the stage. If you do something for us, quid pro quo, you show us she's okay, in any way that we can do that, we are going to leave, which is what he wants. He wants us out of there. So that's a conversation. One of the techniques that we use, and this is important, all right, it's called emotional labeling and the echo technique. Now, these are quick descriptions of this, but if you think about it, you'll start to see how it works. In any conversation with a human being, if they're upset, if they're angry, if they're in crisis, if they're scared, whatever, when you are talking to that person and you say an emotion that they are feeling, they will very often respond to you because they heard the emotion. Oh, he said the word anger and I am angry. They don't think like that. It's just a natural response. Boy, you sound really angry. I am angry. How would you like it if a bunch of cops came to your house, right? So the way the technique works is as you're listening to the person and letting them talk, what you do is you listen for the sound of the emotion. And then you say it back, just like I did there. Boy, you sound really angry, man. Now, the guy answers me, he goes, I am angry. I'm sick and tired of the cops been out there for an hour. I just want to go to bed. My girlfriend had an argument. Go away. I said, boy, you sound really frustrated. Frustrated? I am frustrated. I told that guy, that sergeant standing there, I told him 5 times, we're fine. Just go away. And he won't go away. Right? So you see how that works. Whatever you hear, if you hear the emotion, you say the emotion and it keeps them talking. And the more people talk, The reality is they start to vent whatever it is that's going on, and you can de-escalate them, right? So that's the quick one. So you emotionally label what you hear, and then the echo technique means you repeat it back to them. Boy, you sound angry, mad, sad, glad, happy, whatever it is, and they will respond. They will also respond and tell you you're wrong. Boy, you sound really angry. I'm not angry, man. I'm scared to death. You know, I got arrested one time at Keensburg and these cops beat the hell out of me. I'm not opening this door, letting people in. So they will tell you what they're feeling. It's a very, very good technique to get people to talk that maybe don't want to talk to you. You stay calm, relaxed, emotionally label what you're hearing, and repeat it back to them. All right. So this is what I want to pass on to you today. Now, I have a full-blown class where we use role players and everything else, which you can take, believe it or not, you can even take it online and interact with the role players. PangaroTraining.com. Go see when it's coming up. But these techniques can help you. All right. Even in a short situation, if you remember to stay calm, relax, diminish the words you use, and emotionally label and use the echo technique. So just for those who want to know how the story came out, after about another hour or so, we had a psychologist on scene who was listening, and we're saying, we can't wait any longer. This girl could be dying in there. We got to get in, whether this guy has a gun or not. We got to come up with a plan. We got to go in and check on this girl. So we asked him if he wanted a cup of coffee. And he says, a cup of coffee? No, but I need cigarettes. So, we're going to the store. We ran down to the 7-Eleven. We bought 2 coffees and we bought a pack of cigarettes. We came back and I had an officer. He was a shorter in stature officer than some of the other officers that were there. But this guy was an unbelievable football player in college. He was powerful, fast, really great. I had him come up on the stairs with me. And I had the cigarettes, and you guys look, hey, what's with the cop? What's with the cop? I said, dude, for me to give you something, the captain over there is demanding that I have an officer stand by, but the officer's not got a gun out, or he's just standing here. He's my security. Do you want the cigarettes or not? And the guy's like, yeah, I do. And our plan was that when he opened the door to take the cigarettes, this officer would run in, and there was other officers on the side that he couldn't see that were going to go in, and we were going to try and take him down. So what I did is I said, here's your cigarettes. And he looked at the guy because the officer was shorter in stature. He didn't feel as concerned. He had talked to me for an hour. He felt comfortable with me. He opens the inside door. Then he opens the screen door and he looks at the cop, and the cop's doing the right thing. He's just standing there like, hey, I'm just security. I'm not doing nothing. And I reached out with the cigarettes just like this. And as he went to take them, I dropped the cigarettes. What's a natural thing to do when you're going to take something and the person drops it? He looked down at the cigarettes. When he looked down, I stepped to the side, and this cop came up them stairs like lightning, hit this guy who was pretty big. Guy was about 225. He was a chubby guy. He wasn't a big muscle guy, but 225. This cop hit him low and hard like a linebacker. And he went up, and the 2 of them went up flying and came down, crashed on a coffee table. It was glass, and it busted all over the place. And we went in and secured him. The girl wasn't in the house. When they got done with the fight, her mother, she hung up on her mother and this and that. She went out the back door. She went to her mother's house where she cried to her mother for 3 hours about her horrible relationship. And they both fell asleep after some wine. Never called us to say, hey, my daughter's at my house. So this guy got himself locked up for everything that happened there. And nobody got hurt. That's the key. So each one of these situations is different. But I wanted you to hear these couple of techniques can really help you. All right. Emotionally label, echo technique, or two different things you can do to get someone to talk when they're not talking. All right. Good luck out there. Be safe, be secure. Take the full course so you can learn how to do a lot more things as well. All right. Thanks for being here.